Hello, it's Monaco week. It's a time traditionally where a lot of deals in terms of driver contracts are done. Here's where we are right now with the state of play, with a few predictions thrown in too. Okay, Red Bull. Well, I think we have to take Max Verstappen at his word that he will stay at the team until 2028. That's what he's saying, so I'm going to keep him there. What about the other seat? Is Sergio Perez vulnerable? Well, the reason Carlos Sainz has not accepted that big money offer from Sauber Audi is that he is holding out potentially for that Red Bull seat, but it's been hot and cold in terms of the signals he's been getting from Red Bull, so is it in the balance, that one? Interestingly, what I have heard is that the point of contact for Sainz's people at Red Bull is not Helmut Marko anymore, it's now Christian Horner. That could be good news for Perez. Perez has been conspicuously supportive of Christian Horner this season during all of his issues. If you had to force me to put someone in that seat alongside Verstappen next year, it would be Perez. Ferrari, that's sorted. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. McLaren, also sorted. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. But what about Mercedes? Well, if Mercedes cannot get Max Verstappen, my understanding is Kimi Antonelli will have that seat next year. So that means you can discount some of the other names mentioned. A Sebastian Vettel comeback, Esteban Ocon, even Valtteri Bottas. Kimi Antonelli only turns 18 in August. But might he even be in Formula One this year? There is that potential. However, my understanding is he is in position A if Mercedes cannot get Verstappen to be driving alongside George Russell next year. But that one probably not decided until August or September. Aston Martin, same again, Alonso and Stroll. What about Sauber, which will become Audi? Well, I'm going to put Carlos Sainz alongside Nico Hülkenberg there. Why isn't Carlos Sainz going to Mercedes, you may ask? Well, that conversation has already been had, as I understand it, and the timescale Mercedes are working towards in terms of making their decision does not fit in with what Carlos Sainz wants himself. He wants his contract situation decided in the next few weeks rather than months. Is it a bad move, him going to Sauber Audi? Well, on the one hand, yes, it does look a team which, although it has ambitions to be fighting at the front, probably won't be fighting at the front for the next 2 or 3 years. So is Sainz likely to insert some performance-related clauses there so that he could get out if a better drive becomes available, if Audi are not maybe getting on the podium or fighting for race wins within a year or two? I think that would be the most sensible play from him and his advisors. What about RB? That's really interesting, potentially very competitive, and who's in the frame for it? Well, Yuki Tsunoda's having a great year, but the ending of the association between Honda and the Red Bull family is not a good development for him. I would have made him less likely to stay there than Daniel Ricciardo had he not been so significantly outperforming Ricciardo over the past few months. And then there's Liam Lawson waiting in the wings. Some talk that he's maybe upset Helmut Marko with his ambitions to get in the seat and have that confirmed sooner rather than later. But let's see, he fits the young driver profile for that squad. However, I think this one could still be in the balance. Maybe Ricciardo, as the sort of senior, more experienced personality, still has a chance to work his way back up the pecking order and stay there. So, I'm just going to put him as an all-Antipodean lineup for next year alongside Lawson, but who's to say whether that will pan out or not? Looking at Williams, Alex Albon has signed up. Is Logan Sargent going to survive there into next season? It's probably odds against. Even his team boss, James Vowell, seems to admit that he is at risk right now. One or two people suggesting he might not even survive the season. Is that feasible? Would it make sense maybe to put Kimi Antonelli in that car for the final portion of races? It would enable Mercedes to see exactly what he can do. Well, let's watch this space for that one. But what I am going to say with regard to Williams is that I think they will change Albon's partner next year. And I'm going to put Valtteri Bottas in that other car. A Williams comeback for him. Then we've got Haas, who are losing Nico Hülkenberg. I'm going to put Oliver Bearman in there. That will mean 4 British drivers on the grid next year. Who's going to be alongside him? Difficult one to call. ultimately, I think with his solid performances over the last couple of years, his marketability in that huge Chinese market, and considerable financial backing he also brings, I'm going to put Zhou Guanyu alongside him. Maybe a surprise choice. It means the end in F1 for Kevin Magnussen. Maybe that won't be decided for a month or two yet, but that would be my pick. Then there's the troubled Alpine team. Do both drivers really want to stay there? Well, things are looking up a little bit, and it is a works team after all. Esteban Ocon has those Toto Wolff connections I've spoken about, so maybe he has wider horizons than Pierre Gasly, but ultimately I'm going to say in 2025 that lineup stays the same.